So I'll begin with this one, Odin on the Tree. And it deals precisely of that time of his self-sacrifice, himself to himself, to discover what could be discovered. I fell from the tree, its fist on my throat, hanging always, for the wind swinging, none in my lungs, naked, empty air, and the pissing breeze between my legs. For the push of wings, pride of the eagle, blowing my bones to a blaze and fingering to make me true, tasting Odin. One line aloft on layers of the world age. I saw the 4 square pegs, half of the head held in their stumpy arms, named them dwarf, north and south, east and his brother, bone rim in their hands, eyeless sky. Odin saw another path to unnamed wisdom. And the man who came, most feathered, she took her time, taking looks, stiller than the tree, stood, and I saw in her there and in her gone, with man working, weft threads drawing, breath after breath, bringing. And I saw in red lines roaring on her thigh, bleeding to her feet, blood man casting runes upon the earth, ravens calling. When she left me, weapon man hanging, my own blood gathered, blistered into need, I screamed, reached, scratched the earth, the bloody dirt, dug for tines, the rune words, red whispers of all that is let go of, all that passes, all that follows. Feather-bold man, she of such mane, makes me Odin. At the end of the ninth night, he reached down, screaming, he reached down and took the runes. His sacrifice, he says, myself to myself, giving up our sense of self to retain, to find a sense of self. The death of an ego, perhaps. A surrender to the worlds, a surrender to the goddess, perhaps. My next one is called Odin Speak. With a sense of me, myself, seeking to sacrifice my own self, to speak to Odin and surrender to his hand. Odin Speak. I would speak myself to Odin, though I hang myself to do it. Speak to the high, the just as high, the third. Odin rears high on his high-legged steed, his hand upon my neck, squeezes eyes from their homes. Give them to the water, he runes. And drink, drink of my honey spit. What shall I say? I ask. What you must. When the dead are verbose, literate minions of the rope, the breath I have blown in your bodies is as intricate as gold. Do not be afraid to whisper, to roar, to bring the wolf and the raven to memory's door, to the lost and retained. The burn that rains on my neck, the spill from my side, the yearning for earth. My lady's hand on my stem and sack, this spear, this unrelenting metal, rigid through my bones and sagging flesh, with life's first refusal on my death. Odin takes a taste. accepting everything that falls upon his tongue. And he speaks. He says, I would speak myself to Odin. Odin has two ravens, Thought and Memory, who fly out over the worlds to see what's what and to bring him back stories of what they have seen. When they fly, he lies in a comatose state, tranced, and hopes that they both will return, fearful that Thought will not, but more fearful that Memory will not. This poem is called Hugin and is about thought, and perhaps specifically about thought without memory. Hugin. This bird is heavy hungry, and its bill is sharp. It feels worse alone, like a shower of feathers, each with an edge to pick bones with. The thorn mouth has been lodged in the dead meat that's not dead yet, since before the battle began, waiting for his brother to remember. Odin fell from his chair, sighing to the wind, I fear that thought will not return, will leave me blank in all fetters, but more. Left hanging, Odin pierced himself with the raven spear. Because thought is a hungry bird. Wha sa we gang and dined the day, oh, wha sa we gang Gangleri? And eats what its wing cannot cover, and what it cannot eat, it rips. Lacking remembrance, it cannot be told, brother, you have dined already. Odin is also known as the god of the dead. Perhaps his first purpose is to carry the dead from their bodies, their lich, to where their ancestors are, to bring us home. And so I'll take this brief respite to read this poem, Bare Shirt, which speaks of a warrior carrying his king, his beloved, to a funeral pyre and bestowing him to Odin's care. Bare shirt. Make the mountain, moody shadow, bow its head. Bring the oak and the tall ash, touches of sky, to the well's edge. Watch the oryx, heavy-horned, head low, stamp its last steps upon the moor. The bare-skinned man makes a resting place, spreads his cargo, his king, beloved, on holy bier, broad and strong. His man's arms echo, empty now. He has been, brave words spoken, and will not come, but care remains, care and memory much in thought, as ravens inked on oft-kissed shoulders. The road to be walked, the work to be done, to be taken alone. Odin, my waymate, I give to your guiding. Gather him home. What was said? Secret whispers, to silent hearing and still lips, beard brushing, beard kissing. safe kept and resounding, soft on the air, what was said will be forever there. With these last two, I return to Odin and the tree. It's said that seeking more knowledge, always Odin is seeking knowledge. Odin is a preserver and a healer. He went to where a witch had been hung on the tree, and with his runes and magic, called her to speak to him of things that would come. She was a Volva, the Old Norse word for a witch, a seeress. And these are what she said to him. I speak to you, Odin, only because for all the nights I've hung, you've hung more. Leave me here a tenth, I'll tell you nothing. But have me speak. Spare a breath. Spare the rope, unrig me if you will. But each night spared spills truth away. So read it in runes, read on my thigh, running from my roots, wristed in my womb, one unseeded, sent away. Oh, you glare one eye. Unwelcome to you. Such need to know, but now the fear. Not everything comes to conclusion. I tell it true, the tree I found you, self-sacrificed to self upon, dangled like the dead, dribbling streams of hanged man's piss, piddling still from blood-gorged bulb, blue with plenty, heavy seed wanting home, hurled forth, caught it on my tongue, craving work, caught it on my throat, thirsty worker, caught it in my belly, canny drinker. This the secret of my seeress fame. Words of iron, wisdom thrusting from my mouth, many weirds retelling. And you want my words to wait on you, my throat so throttled. My thigh is ready. Taste the walls of my wasted chamber. It said that Volva told a tale then of Ragnarok, the death of Odin's son, the destruction of the worlds, but then perhaps also a revival, a re-emerging, fields growing of themselves, and the children of the gods and the children of the last humans returning to the worlds. But returning to this last one, to the tree, and Odin winning the runes, that all the previous ones have been in Old Norse meter, alliterative meter. This one is perhaps more of a modern one. Winning runes. Odin swung upon the tree. She placed them in his hand. His grip was weak, he let them fall like starving ravens on the sand. Like starving ravens on the sand and bloody soil, picking bones. She walked away, he screamed, his neck against the noose, in spear shrill and overtones. In spear shrill and overtones, the sounds each bloody scratch enbound. She came again, him sitting by the tree, with runes and whispers found.